Welcome back to the 1983 Range Rover Classic project. Today we're going to address a problem I had, which was fuel starvation and replacement of the fuel pump. Initially I didn't know what was wrong with the vehicle. As the vehicle was under load, maybe going up a hill or something, the engine would just die, cut out completely. The revs wouldn't drop, it would just stop. However, the odd thing was, when you go to start it, it starts straight away. Wasn't any hindrance in starting, 2 turns and it would be and it would start. So I was really confused about this, so I didn't really know what was going on. And of course, if it was a long hill, which in fact we've got one close to where I live, it would stop 2 or 3 times, and I'd start it and it'd go up. And anyway, I got in touch with RPPI Ebnginerring. When I spoke to the engineers at RPI, the first thing he asked was what type of configuration I had. It was a normal aspirated engine with Strongberg carbs and modified to K&N cone air filters, using the standard fuel filter, which was the cartridge type. And a guy there said instantly, straight away, it's petrol starvation. Your fuel pump is not supplying enough fuel quick enough. He said the pressure's there, obviously, because it's filling up, but that's why it's starting okay. He said, but it's not supplying it quick enough to keep it under load. So I had to buy a new fuel pump. And speaking to this gentleman at RPPI Ebnginerring, he suggested that I went with a high volume pump, but he suggested the ones that he used in competition, not the standard one that come on the Range Rover, standard replacement. And he said, although they also come with high pressure, and of course with carburetors, he said that's no good. However, it's a really simple thing. The volume of fuel that is supplied is really good, and that's fine, but the pressure needs to be changed. On these fuel pumps, the way in which the actual fuel pressure, which obviously I need to reduce from a high competition one, is actually just the internal spring. As I already had a pump and it pumped okay and the pressure seemed to be fine, it was just a matter of removing the original spring out of the original pump and putting that spring in the new pump. The fuel pump is mounted on the rear chassis outrigger on the passenger side, or on the left side of the vehicle at the front half. When placing the new pump, I saw no reason to change the positioning. Although it can get muddy and dirty, there isn't really a better placement for it. No matter where it goes, it's going to be open to the elements. But the thing is, it sits above the chassis rail, and therefore any normal condition, even if I'm going off-roading, shouldn't have too much of an effect on it. The original fuel pipes are hard nylon, which made removing the old fuel pump a bit of a problem because they seem to have been heat shrunk or pressed onto the original fittings, and as you can see from the photo, it's very, very rusty, and therefore the fittings just don't come off, and it wasn't possible to take the pipes off the tail fittings, so I had to cut the plastic pipe to remove the old fuel pump. When I purchased the Facet red fuel pump, I purchased it with the fitting kit. One of the reasons is obviously the old one was all rusty and I needed the new rubber mounts. In addition to that, because the fittings were rusted on, I couldn't use the old ones and therefore needed the angled fuel fittings to add new rubber pipe. Here's your fuel pump, and to get the spring out, you're supposed to be able to put a spanner or a socket on here and turn it and twist it off, because it's got, you see, it's got some lugs on there, and these are shaped, but this is so rusty I actually levered them off all the way around. There's 3 of them, and the only way to get this off was basically destroy it. So to remove the end, I'm going to need a screwdriver. So here's my all-purpose paint stirring screwdriver. So I'm just going to ease it off, ease the top off the fuel pump. Sorry about the cables getting in the way a bit there. So if we remove the end of the fuel pump, there's a rubber seal, and that's actually a magnet. The magnet's obviously in there to catch rubbish as it goes through, if there's any. But there is the internals of the fuel pump. This spring clip here holds the spring in, and I'll see if I can show you how. Sorry, I'm trying to hold the camera at the same time. So this little spring clip here goes all the way around. So it's a circular spring clip that goes all the way around, and this is what holds the spring in. So I'm going to try and do this. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on the tripod. So here we are on the tripod. I'm sorry it's a bit further away. I'll try and hold it up closer so you can see. So what we're going to have to do is remove this without letting the spring go shooting away. So as it happens, the spring didn't and then the spring is under here. So if we, there's a washer and a rubber, and the spring is inside there. There is the spring, and this is the spring that controls the fuel pressure. So if we replace this spring, or take this spring out and put it on the piston in the new pump. As a side note, I thought I might mention this because this might get a bit confusing. This, as far as I'm aware, this is the original pump off the 1982. This is actually a filter inside, and so nowadays the newer ones have nylon filters inside, but this is what the original pump had. And I honestly do believe this is so old that it is the original fuel pump off the 1983 when it was manufactured, and that is the fuel filter. As I said, nowadays that's slightly different. It's a nylon, so the insides of this will be subtly different because they'll have the more modern stuff in there, so it will be a nylon filter. Well, this is how it should be able to get removed. Just turn it with a spanner on the hex head and then just ease it out. and here we are inside. So again, rubber, and this is the filter that's fitted in the modern pumps. Same construction in the centre. Take that out, swap the springs over, and away we go. However, because this is a newer one, obviously the cap fitting is as simple as that. The magnet is in the hex head on there. Got the rubber on. These are angled so it tightens. Make sure they're all lined up. You can hand tighten it, and then just a matter of twisting home. Done. All ready to go. So here is a picture of the new pump fitted. To connect the new pump back to the original hard plastic fuel lines, I used the 90-degree hose headers or tails, the screw-in ones that came with the kit, and rubber fuel line. This was fitted, as you can see from the picture, was fitted using Jubilee clips. The rubber fuel line was a tight fit on the plastic, and the plastic fuel line is actually tough enough to tighten up with a Jubilee clip. I've never had any problems with fuel leakage or dribbles or anything from the pump or from the connectors and the Jubilee clips connecting to the plastic lines at all. So it's been a completely successful upgrade with no problems whatsoever since I've installed this. I've had no problems with fuel starvation since then. It accelerates nicely up hills and accelerates really well on the flat. So thanks to the guys at RPPI Ebnginerring. I'll put a link down below for the website. They're based in the UK. They are Rover V8 engine specialists.
Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, that would really help me out. If you like my videos, please hit the notifications and you'll find out as soon as the next one comes out. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.